DM, sorry for the delay. This is my recap for my Callum session on January the 10th, 2023. So, my last place I left off is Oriana was explaining to Callum that there's books written about the art of quick binding, and this is the Kincaid ability where basically, oh, I actually have a wheel thing. So it's like he would have like seals appear, like circular seals like appear in his body, and like kind of like grab them and kind of like turn them, and as he was doing so, it's like it was unlocking power and stuff. That is that is basically him doing a quick binding, as she was explaining it. So um picking up, I was kind of being I got shifted a little bit through the day. So during the second half of the day, Callum meditates and begins the process of unbinding Last Bastion. So when Nihilus and Bastion represent lesser stars. Um, while abilities connected to Callum's Soulfire are larger stars. So this is basically like a breakdown of how the systems and stuff are laid out. So Callum went into the psychic plane where the water is, and then went into the spiritual wellspring where you can access these larger and lesser stars. So it takes longer for Callum to get to the Bastion and Nihilus systems, but he does eventually arrive at the Bastion system. Bastion's aura is a lighter blue aura, and like the gen like I think that's how the star is. So the star that represents me is 4 to 5 times as large as Bastion's. Um, Bastion is also binded with Last Bastion. So that was a little unnerving, but it didn't seem like he was hurt at all. So there's like an energy mesh that's around the star, and I have to disrupt it and like detract it. So, or detach it. I think it's detach it. Um, so everyone's spiritual wellspring is different. This effect allows you to interact um with the spiritual wellspring, and this makes unbinding more challenging, like this energy mesh. Fenris's energy binding, like Fenris's energy is Last Bastion. I have to build my own binding around the Fenris binding to undo it. So I have to like kind of build something around my own mesh around that mesh, add my energy to Fenris's, take it over, and then undo the entire structure and everything. It's almost like I'm infecting it. My aura, even though this is all within me, my aura interacts with Fenris's energy. I need to use focus and intent to unbind it. The unbinding becomes exponentially more difficult as I go. Um, I think the way the DM was explaining it was like almost like climbing a mountain, um, and like or maybe climbing up a hill, and it's just becoming harder and harder and harder as I go. And I had to hold at the 50% point. At 50 to 60% of the journey towards unbinding, it was even harder. Then when I finally got past the 60 point, it got easier. And now it's like I'm scaling down the mountain. Like I finally reached the peak at around the 50 to 60% part. Now we're coming down, baby, and it's way easier. Now it's getting exponentially easier. Breaking down and unlayering the energy net is much more consistent with my studies. The work was tedious but steady. I finished it, and Last Bastion has been unbound. I visited the star and let Bastion know that I'll come back for him because he didn't get unbound. So yeah, but I let him know I will come back for him because we have much to discuss. Because from the last session, I found out through Oriana that I could. There's a way for me to bring him back, even though I have no idea how to do it. But supposedly there's a way for him to come back. So I exit the meditation, and I find that I've lost 10 to 15% of my power. I summon a barrier ball just to make sure like that I had the power, and it came out. Yes, nice. Okay, so it's midnight, and Kincaid is actually here with me. So he was like there sleeping inside the like a little like hut that I was in. So his power is muffled. He's hiding his power. A new form of primal came to the planet and created a psychic foothold for Arya to use. Oh wait, hold on. Um, sorry. A new form of primal came to the planet and created a psychic foothold for Arya to use. They were rooted out and destroyed. So basically, this is excuse me, what he was explaining to me that Arya had a way to be able to psychically like breach the planet with her psychic abilities and do stuff like make contact with Callum. And this is how that was possible through this new psychic foothold. Arya's agenda will be somewhat tied to her brute leader, he explained to me. Um, the primals will poke and prod like for centuries or millennia to get a planet. I'm sorry I'm going over it like this. It's been a while since I looked at this. I do apologize. But yes, so this is where he was breaking down, like we were talking about, like the persistence of the primals and excuse me, the relentlessness and how long all of this could conceivably go on for. Um, he said that the primals want to assimilate the guardians, and he broke down who Lan was. So Lan is the person who is Arya's direct superior. So he's above Arya, but under the brute leader. But however, though, he is the most powerful of the Vetra brood. So the leader is more like an organizer, like Cap on the Avengers. Like he's an organizer. But Lan is the guy power wise. So he's orders of magnitude greater than Arya is in martial skill, which is scary because she was pretty strong. At least the Callum. Brute. Oh, I thought I wasn't recording for a second. Sorry. Brute leaders aren't necessarily always fighters. So this is one of those things where I learned that it might be consistent across different broods that the leaders are not actually fighters. Good to know. Um, Kincaid, like sorry. Um, can I talked to Kincaid about the deal that Arya offered me, and I was asking him like, does it seem like it's something I should consider for maybe the safety of our world? And he said he wouldn't take the deal. And I said, I appreciate the talk, appreciate the what you call it, the advice. So we go our separate ways. Sorry, we go our separate ways, and he goes to make final preparations. So I fly home back to my base because I was thinking, like, man, I wish I had this, that, and the other. So wait a second, I'm like really powerful now. None of this stuff's that far. So I flew back to the base to get the opticar, to get the opticore, and to get my axe. Um, um, I was when I was there, the only person that was there was Dirge. Everybody is out in their various assignments, trying to find trying to find Keith Lamar, trying to find Zag, trying to find going to Nexus is, I believe, is our main city to talk to the people there. All the various things I have them doing, they're all off doing those things. So um, Dirge is the only one here because he should be. Keep your ass on site. So he was training, and I flew down to talk to him to check in on him and everything like this. I still love him; he's my brother and everything. Even though keep your ass on the base. So he was explaining that he was not explaining, but I could tell that he was like antsy and a little like and feeling like a little caged up. So I let him know that I would be back in a couple of days to see him, and he talked about how he could tell that I was like very strong, and like he said, care to test how strong. And I was like, I was like, I got pressing business, brother, but like soon. And the DM explained is like, player, you don't even think like the rampaging dirge that when he was rampaging with the all blackout is strong enough to to be able to hang with you. It's like that's what I like to hear, DM. And it feels consistent because I've been making some major come ups. So I go to when I go to get the Opticore and the X, I take a second to try to practice making energy armor to see if like I could just make a version of my like use the barrier energy to make like a version of armor around myself. I could conceivably do it, but the issue is moving around and having the armor move like armor would as I move and stuff like that. So I couldn't quite get it to work, but I could make it. So I grabbed the Opticore. I got 23 shots. That's 4 magazines and 1 partial. Um, so sorry, 4 full magazines and 1 partial, partially full. 4 magazines total. Just one of them has a couple, like 2 shots been already fired. Um, I decide to stay at the base, and then I wake up just before sunrise. Go to the meeting spot, meet up with Kincaid. He's already powered up. I power up, and we talk a little bit before we decide to go up to the meeting. Basically, rehashing some of the same stuff that we already talked about, and he was just letting me know that he was gonna let me take the lead in the meeting and stuff, but he had my back and he was there and everything. Like we were in this together. Like it was a solid bonding moment before we went up there. I sense Arya in a second power, or we go up beyond the barrier. Once we're beyond the barrier, I sense Arya in a second power that's very malevolent. The second power is almost made my heart skip a beat. Like so, it's strong and very malevolent. So they arrive. Land is actually a tiny guy. So he got a little Vegeta in him. He's like 5'6", which is extra small compared to Callum. Like Callum's like 8 feet tall at least or something like that. So I could also tell that the Vetra ship is closer to the planet. It's like maybe 10,000 miles off the planet now. So um, Land's armor fades. He is white. He's got jet black hair. He's got a sorry, jet black hair. He's got a ponytail. He's in his early 20s, and he's got sky blue eyes. He looks like he's in his early 20s. He's got sky blue eyes. We get into it. So Lan mentions that he wants to. So he is basically him and Arya are on the same page. The main difference is that he's not as bought in to me being this like central figure to their plans as Arya is. Arya feels like it has to be me to become the brood leader. Lan is like it could be you, but it doesn't have to be. So he wants to separate from the larger brood, and he wants to detach from the overall primals. So he reiterated that the Vetra brood is an enemy to the Black God. Um, like so he talked about how an alliance between us could work. However, the Vetra brood needs for me, for Callum, to replace Dagon. Dagon is the leader of the Vetra brood. So Lan has served Dagon for centuries. So we know he's not in his 20s. Um, so the way it will work is I will return with them and I would be assimilated. Arya would use her psychic powers, her telepathy, to keep me from being indoctrinated. Then I would ascend, and once I ascend, I would kill Dagon, and then the next move would be up to me after the ascension because the Vetra brood would then be mine. So also they explain that all of this is we're on a clock with all of this. So Arya can maybe shield herself and land for like a day before Dagon is going to know that they're planning all this stuff and that they're not really with him anymore. So Lan starts to go on about how they know about the All Black, they know about the Hymn of Creation, they know about the Guardians and who's here. They know about Zaku. The first is the eighth Guardian, and like he believes with Zaku, the Vetra brood could overrun us, could overrun Illyria. They also know about the Arcanos. Yikes. They know how the fuck do you know all this stuff? They know about the Masters of Legends, and that Kincaid is one of the Masters of Legends. When that was the thing, he went through all of this stuff. When he heard that, like the spear rattled me, but when Kincaid heard that, he just straight up said they can't be allowed to leave here alive. And Lan starts to get kind of excited, like he starts to get like a toothy grin, and like he's just getting more Vegeta like he's getting more excited. So he mentions if the Masters fall, Kincaid does, I believe, then it'll bring about something much worse. Um, Lan talks about the Zelrain, the Eternal Kings. They'll bring together two individuals from the human and Anvari, Arcadian, Ethereum, the Dara, the Primal, and some others. One represents the perfection of form, and the other represents the perfection of essence. Raziel, one of the Eternal Kings, he's rebelling. Um, he created the primals with this in mind. If the primals can unify all races in mind and body, then the Zelrain will be starved of this ritual. So that's the purpose of the primals, at least from their perspective. Um, this information is coming through visions. Oh, I'm sorry. This wasn't Lan explaining this. Arya was feeding this to me telepathically. It's coming to me through visions and scraps of information. Now the thing of it is my understanding is that this kind of seems like a fairy tale or something like that. Like it's just like almost like religious creation myths, and it's just like kind of from Callum's perspective, it's like I don't know, like is this stuff that credible? Um, we're talking about the world being on the backs of turtles, kind of stuff. So, um, Raziel, Raziel is the primal's god. Human religion is based around the Arcadian culture. Humans thought that the Arcadians were gods, but they're not. This is the DM kind of giving me context around like how beings or groups can be thought of as gods and not be. As long as the primal soul is intact, they can return. There are hundreds of thousands of spiritual well springs that act as a repository that allows them to resurrect. The allied races who fought the primals were hunting down these spiritual repositories. The allied races thought they were cutting the primals off, but destroying the primals was like destroying their psychic worlds. Hive collectives are a type of psychic type plane for the primals, which acts as a type of heaven. Um, yeah. One of the psychic worlds was Arya's, and she was lost. Sorry, was Arya's, and she lost a lot of people when it was destroyed. Um, there are special primals who can craft worlds. These are internal psychic worlds. The Zelrain exiled the king who created the primals, the 13th king. Um, the exiled prince might be the same as the exiled king. Okay, the more significance. This is all still stuff I'm getting from Arya. The more significant the primal, the more biomass needed to create or recreate them. Um, I learned about Amon, the Endless Nightmare, the Primal King. He's one of the more significant Eternal Kings. Yikes. He's responsible for people's perception of the primals. If the All Black comes together, then a powerful being is born who has the potential to wipe out the universe. So it's not automatic, but I mean, that's a big ass gamble. Arya does believe that the Eternal Kings can be destroyed. Arya believes that we can defeat the Eternal Kings by letting the primals assimilate everyone. This breaks the line by denying them the ability to create a new Eternal King. There are 13 kings, and obviously one of them's not with the others. Um, the story I'm getting is meant to make Arya's perspective make sense. So it's like the story might be kind of like colored, or maybe spun in a way that it makes more sense. Um, so the Zelrain have not awakened yet. That's why they haven't attacked the primals. Kincaid's attack. Oh, sorry. So at this point, so besides this, what's also going on with this stuff, aside from the stuff that Ari is feeding me, Kincaid and Lan are continuing to talk, and like, and Lan keeps kind of like egging Kincaid on, and basically like getting him more and more, like not getting him, but like he's buying more and more into the idea of them fighting, and I'm trying to keep them from fighting. And Kincaid is listen, Callum, we have to kill them. And and I'm like, well, listen, we can't kill them. Like we just went over all of this, and he was like, we can go and destroy the ship. He's like, if we kill them and then we go and destroy the ship, they won't come back. And and um and Lan is like, that would work. It's like, Lan, you're not fucking helping, man. So Kincaid eventually attacks him. Um, as he attacks him, like me and Arya are kind of in shock, and their battle goes off world. He's eventually hitting him so hard, and he's creating like shockwaves across the planet, and he's creating shockwaves in space the size of moons. I end up speaking to Iroku through Sir Laura, and then like telling him about the deal and asking him what I should do. Sir Laura comes back and says, Iruku says, do not do the deal. That's crazy. And he's kind of upset that I was considering it. And it's just like, I'm just trying to consider all of our options. And then I tell him, I tell him about the battle that's going on. Iroku appears and grows really huge. He's probably like, I don't know, like maybe 30 stories tall or something like that. And instantly kills Arya. Just almost with a gesture. And she just dies. Um, he tells me I can't join the primals. He kind of goes to like this speech, and I apologize, I did not write a lot of it down, but or any of it down. But essentially, he talks about how like we're not weak here, and that this like the people here aren't refugees. This was like a kind of like a second defensive position that they've all retreated to, and this not retreated to, but moved to, and this is it's like a tactical retreat, and that this is all a part of a plan and everything like that. And I shouldn't despair and just and grasp at any option available to me in desperation. And he says that Kincaid and I could go and like finish the primals or finish the Vetra brood aboard the ship, and because Lan dies. So now Arya's gone and Lan is gone. And I was like, well, I can't breathe in space. He produces this bubble of water, and like it surrounds my head, and it makes it so that no, it goes into my chest. And it feels for a second like I'm drowning, then I'm okay. And it gives me the ability to breathe in space, and but it'll wear off when I come back through the barrier. Then I sense where the primal ship is and fly to it as fast as I can. That is where I left off, DM.